Good morning, beloveds. As always, distracted by cats. We had a good day in the park today. Uh, the Blue Jays were teasing us and then being nice. And so it was interesting because twice they landed on signs, like very close to us. One time I did get several pretty good shots, but when I shifted to get better light, the Blue Jay flew away. And then the next time I just didn't get my camera out fast enough. The Blue Jay was like, "I'm here. You're not paying attention." But we also saw the bigger woodpecker, because there's two woodpeckers in the park. There's a smaller one that's, the shape of like the size and shape of like the pigeons and the doves and they have the soft red head, just the patch. We saw the bigger one, the one that's black, not striped, but black with the crest. And that was fantastic and exciting and just, yeah. And then I think one of the Blue Jays chased it because before I could get a good picture of it, something flew at it and it flew to another tree. So I'll have to see if the picture that I got is decent at all. It's just going to be a shadow. You won't be able to see the red head. It was exciting though. Okay, so it is May 14th. Our title is The Powerful Pause. The first quote is, "Thou wilt keep him in peace, in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee." Thou wilt keep them in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. And that is Isaiah 26:3. The body is healed as the inner mind is transformed, as the old and false images of thought are renewed by images of truth and life. That is Science of Mind 487. Recently, I had the delightful opportunity to take a slow, meandering ferry boat ride across San Francisco Bay. The weather was superb, the day sunny and calm. The seabirds swooped gracefully over the water, emitting their shrill cries. The fact that I was intent on getting where I was going meant nothing whatsoever to the boat's progress or to the activity of nature about me. Nothing was altered to accommodate my need for haste, so I wisely decided to enjoy the entire leisurely process. Who would have wanted to miss such a refreshing pause? I was reminded that the eternal self in us must often be invited into our mental parlors. When we are irritated or constantly busy, the quiet ways of the infinite often go unheard. Our communion with the self is necessary for our spiritual good. If we are wise, we will never become so forgetful that we put aside our quiet times with God. In a busy, information-filled world, the God presence within us is the only thing that is unchanging. The moment that we pause for inner renewal can only add to our power and peace. I take time for the infinite around within me. I take time for my own refreshment and renewal. I stretch my inner self and let the spiritual sun within me warm and comfort me. I go forward into my daily activities with new insights and new creativity. How grateful I am for this wonderful spiritual contact. And that is MS, Margaret Stortz. I am a big believer in the power of the pause. It's one of the reasons when I'm doing the suggesting the loving, kind, compassionate, spiritual, one of the things that I do suggest is to take 3 deep breaths, or to take a nap, or to take a walk. And that's exactly what that is sometimes. And it's especially true with creativity. It's like sometimes we get so busy that the creativity just kind of stops. And then the best way we can kind of restart it is to pause, to go and do something else, to take a break. And if you can imagine when this one was written and how much more information filled our world is now. Just the fact that we now carry in our back pockets cell phones with more computing power than the computers that they used to send men to the moon the first time. Literally, it's, we have 24-hour news stations, which I very rarely turn on. I don't need that much news in my life. And so we talk about stopping and smelling the roses, but do we? That's one of the things, that's part of the reason why I go to the park on Saturday mornings. Yes, I go for the exercise, and I do miss running, and someday I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to get back to being the running Rev. But we go to listen to the birds and to watch the birds and to watch the squirrels and to watch the dogs in the dog park. We go to take a break from the world. You know, when we started this walking thing, that was one of the best things about it is, yes, I do take my phone with me because of my camera, but most of the time my phone stays in my pocket unless I see something I want to take a picture of. It's just me and my husband out there, you know, talking. It's just, you know, we're not being distracted by the TV, and we're not being distracted by the computers and social media and all of that. And so we watch and that's how we see, like, the woodpecker that I saw today. The reason that I noticed it was because I was watching, you know, and I saw the bird fly across me, and I thought, that's a bird I haven't seen because he's bigger and the wings were black, and then they had the white spots in them, and I was just like, so then we had this amazing experience because I wasn't being information overloaded. I was actually paying attention to the world around me. And sometimes when we are, you know, talking to people, especially if we're trying to work something out, that pause is super important. It's like, let me stop and think about what I'm about to say. What is it that they say? Let it pass through the three gates. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it useful? Or whatever the third one is, you know, that's that power of that pause. And it is, as Dr. Goswami says, we're human beings, not human doings. We need to rest. We need to take a pause. You know, we can't go 24/7. We need to take that break. And so that first quote from Isaiah is even more important. Okay, so the powerful pause, not the power of, but the powerful pause. Thou wilt keep them in perfect peace, whose mind stayed on thee. That's the power of spiritual practice. It's like any time we need a break, if we just need to refresh and renew, where do we go? And I liked that she used mental parlors, because that's one of the things that when I do a meditation, and I have decided that I go into a cave, but when you get into the cave, then what you find is a library with 2 wingback chairs. And that's where I go to spend time with the source of my own being, you know, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's where I go. I go and sit in that chair, and I invite that spirit to sit in the other chair and have a conversation with me. So that is my mental parlor. Okay. And then the body is healed as the inner mind is transformed, as the old false images of thought are renewed by the image of life and truth. We have to make sure that we take time to think about what's true, to take time to focus on the reality that we are bringing forth, not necessarily the reality that we're living in. That's one of the things that Tracy Brown's talked about, is like, can you imagine a world without racism? That's what a powerful pause is. That's what we can do with that powerful pause. We can stop and we can imagine a world without racism. We can imagine a world where, you know, the people that we care about, where our transgender brothers and sisters are safe, where our people, you know, where our loved ones who are of color are safe. And that's the world we're working on. Well, that's the power of the pause. It's like, let me go to God. Let me go to God in love. Let me go and imagine this world where everyone is safe, you know, where everybody has enough to eat, where, you know, and trust me, that world is not boring, you know? But it's wonderful and it's amazing and it's creative and there's all these wonderful things. And that's the powerful pause where we go to God and say, show me the world that can be, and then show me what I can do to bring it forth. That's the power of spiritual practice. So then she goes through, and I love this. Recently, I had a delightful opportunity to take a slow meandering ferry boat ride across the San Francisco Bay, which sounds like a whole lot of fun. The weather was superb, the day sunny and calm. The seabirds swooped gracefully over the water, emitting their shrill cries. It just paints a beautiful picture to me. The fact that I was intent on getting where I was going meant nothing whatsoever to the boat's progress or the activity of nature around me. And frequently, that's exactly what will happen. We live in the future. It's like, okay, you're on a ferry boat in the San Francisco Bay. There is all this amazing wonder and beauty around you, and you're busy thinking about where you're going instead of where you are. Sometimes it is helpful to stop, especially now, if you're driving a car, that's different, but you're on a ferry boat. You have the opportunity. You worrying about where you're going is not going to get you there any faster. Why not stop, pause, and enjoy what's going on around you? See the God around you. Nothing was altered to accommodate my need for haste, so I wisely decided to enjoy the entire leisurely process. Who would have wanted to miss such a refreshing pause? And that's why I go to the park. Refreshing pause. I was reminded that the eternal self in us must often be invited into our mental parlors. The eternal self is always within us, always around us. But we don't always consciously connect with it. And that's what the power of a pause can do, is it if we take that moment to consciously connect with our eternal self. When we are irritated or constantly busy, the quiet ways of the infinite often go unheard. How often do you listen to the birds sing? It's like every day you hear them, but do you actually hear them? If we are wise, we will never... Oh, wait, I skipped a line. Our communion with the self is necessary for our spiritual good. If we are wise, we will never become so forgetful that we put aside our quiet times with God. That is the point of spiritual practice, to have quiet time with God. And it can look like whatever you want. It doesn't have to be sitting cross-legged on a pillow. My quiet time with God is often when I'm moving. It was fantastic when I was running. In a busy, information-filled world, the God presence within us is the only thing that is unchanging. The moments that we pause for inner renewal can only add to our power and peace. I take time for the infinite within me. I take time for my own refreshment and renewal. I stretch my inner self and let the spiritual sun within me warm and comfort me. I go forward into my daily activities with new insights and new creativity. How grateful I am for this wonderful spiritual contact. But that's Margaret Stortz. All right. And the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to pause for that inner renewal. To invite spirit into our mental parlors. And that can look like meditation. That can look like treatment. That can look like taking a nap, going for a walk, simply taking the 3 deep breaths. That inner renewal. And that is why I suggest the other one, the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself. Because that is that where you're taking that moment to consciously connect with that eternal self. Where And if you think, oh well, this is God time, that's great. But if you don't, that's okay too, because you are caring for yourself. You know, you are taking that deep breath. You are taking that moment to actually really enjoy that cup of tea or cup of coffee, or whatever it is that you're drinking. I put ice on my water bottle today, and so I was like, that, I took that moment when I was drinking that to go, this is good, because I was hot from the park, and just to marvel at what was going on around me. So and I suggest it every day, because people get funny ideas about what spiritual practice is, and taking care of yourself is a spiritual practice. That's why I suggest that loving, kind, compassion. And I want to create that habit, that first response. The powerful pause, the power of the pause, is to create a response instead of a reaction. And we will always be far more powerful in a response than we will be in a reaction. So, all right, beloveds, that is, you got the mission, you got the spiritual practice that I suggest. I'm going to suggest that you also do something to engage your mind and your body today. Drink plenty of water. Go get that bright light early in the day. I took a couple of pictures of clouds today, because the clouds were really interesting today too. And then open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us, all the time. And the best thing that we can do is take Emma's advice and look for the good and praise it. Just within the last couple of days, we were talking about, no matter what is going on, there's always going to be good in the situation. And I can say that because if you are in the situation, there's good, because you are good. So consider that. And then sometimes when you're in messy situations, the question is what's mine to do? Because sometimes you may find yourself in a messy situation. It's not yours to fix. Just keep that in mind. Do what you can, but don't do more than you have to. Don't do more than you can. You know what I mean? I want you to practice that art of self-care. I want you to practice the pause. So, I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, an enchanting day, a magical day. I'm going to have a catter day. If you don't have cats, I don't think Dogger Day works quite as well as Catter Day, but a snuggle with your pets day. How about that? Or your partners. All right, beloveds. I'm going to encourage you to have a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You're a beloved child of God, and whom God is well pleased and well represented. All right, beloveds. Catch us on the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark, or I am the Running Rev Ryan on my social medias. We will have an amazing service for you tomorrow, but before that, I will be back with you at 9 a.m. and Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. If you want to know what's going on, because we do have quite a few things coming up in the end of May and the beginning of June that'll be very exciting. Please email info@creativelife.org and get on that constant contact, and that will let you know what's going on. And there was something else I was going to say, and it's gone. So I'm clearly hungry. I'm going to go grab something to eat. Whatever else you do, know that you are loved always. And I will see you next time.